Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kadash. Don't want to see apostles and elders, great Muslim and rule well. And shalom to the brothers and works sharing truth. Yeah, I got this on Market Watch, and it's basically just showcasing, America's cooked that state that not even presence position it held of dominance of where it was, the pinnacle, the peak, as far as it goes to what you call it. It was a pinnacle on the face of the earth, militarily, economically, influence wise, culturally as well. All these, so called states of prominence. It's clearly like now it's cooked, man. It's done, man. It's washed. There's a Market Watch. It says what opinion, empty shelves, Felice signs, and job layoffs point to recession by summer. And it's funny that Felice signs, because that shit happened in the UK as well, where I remember going back to the 90s, you used to have a lot more, like for each neighborhood, estate, I don't know what the correct term would be to use, but you would have like huddles of little shops just in each of the little estates or like housing regions. And then through the process of time, a lot of those smaller ones closed up. It's like you used to have, it's like post offices is for the UK the best example, where you had a lot of post office where it used to be in like each different region would have one. But then as, post has been in decline for a while, they closed down, and now you don't even see a regular post office by itself, albeit rarely. And even then, most of them are just kind of latched on to, in like the back of a regular store, you'll have like a little shelf at the back that works as a post office for you to kind of like send mail, collect mail, etc. So a lot of that, like Felice stuff, just lets you know, like businesses are closing. A lot of those places, no one's going to come into them. Because the thing with the States as well, it's a lot bigger than the UK. The UK is fucking tiny comparatively. The US is fucking huge. So you get some of these places shut down, or they lose that kind of connectivity to where people are visiting. And then it's just done. It's washed. It's completely cooked. Like that might never come back. No one will ever move there. Because there's a large empty shelf, a Dollar Tree store in Alhambra, California. And even with Dollar Tree, I think they said it's up to $7 now. This Dollar Tree was in the UK. We have like Poundland, Pound World would be the equivalent, where everything's meant to be a pound. It's like the same with Dollar Tree. It's meant to be $1. But then they said like now they're charging up to £7. King madness. So renegotiating a trade deal won't be worth much unless it's with America's most valuable trading partners. It takes 30 to 50 days for container ships from Asia to reach the US's West Coast ports, barring new, faster shipping options or a stunning retreat by US President Donald Trump on China tariffs. The consumer retail economy, which constitutes 70% of GDP, will be damaged. Demand from container space from China on the ships transiting the Pacific Ocean currently is running 60 to 65% below what it normally would be at this time. So I'm probably based on like last year or maybe like the last 5 years kind of. Men said they're 60 to 65. That's like 30%, 40% of the actual regular amount of trade, which is fucking insane. Because that means that's like 2/3 of your economy just got snapped by Thanos. Got Thanos snapped into the abyss. Says attention US shoppers. If you see something you need or think you will need, head to Walmart or Target or a local retailer and buy it. Already you see shelves starting to empty. Yeah, and that's not even, that wouldn't even be a joke. Because there'll be places where some things might just not get restocked. They'll just be like, nah, it's done. We tried our best. No such hope. So this is what and even their pandemic era shortages. Pandemic era shortages may return without trade war deal with China, businesses warn. And yeah, it really shows the how did I start playing again? What is it? The it's the trade war hasn't gone as favorably as how it went last time. Last time America, Trump was in, he did it, and he stood on it. But then at this point, America's cooked. It's washed, man. It's done. It's a wrap. The dream is dead. What does it say? Some analysts are concentrating on higher prices on imports, but the truth is that fewer American businesses will clear products through US customs. It won't be price that matters, it will be lack of product to sell. Yeah, which is funny because imagine everyone was talking about the cost of things going up, and then especially with electronics. There was the Apple flying in like a 747 worth of the hell is the word? The 747 worth of what's the term? Of iPhones to get in outside of the tariff pricing. And then what? Now they're saying fucking hell, bruv. To get on the tariff pricing. And then now they're saying there won't even be things there to sell at a higher price. Just fucking hilarious. Says the damage to the US economy is happening in slow motion. Without products to sell in stores, retail employees responsible for 10% of all jobs in the US will shed employees. A cascade of negatives now showing up in both statistics and for lease signs. Small businesses from Alaska to Maine without imported goods to use in a factory or sell at the shop will close. Bankruptcy sales will proliferate. Now consider that job losses have a multiplier effect, further reducing economic output. Before you become euphoric about the Trump administration relenting on some of its tariffs, consider the damage that has already been done to the US economy. Challenger, Gray, and Christmas reported that US employers cut more than 275,000 jobs in March, with more than 216,000 of those layoffs coming in the federal government spearheaded by Elon Musk's so-called Doge. The numbers Challenger estimates are staggering and so far not reflected in the Bureau of Labor Statistics data. Oh yeah, so fucking hell, so that's going to be even more. The impact on the US economy will soon be obvious. Economies run on flows from wages and from federal government grants for thousands of immediate needs. Without this flow, with the layoff and cuts to wages, the US economy will continue to slow and should be in a recession by the summer. Yeah, because what's a recession? It's 3 quarters back to back of no growth, I believe. I don't even think it has to retract. I think just no growth. So it's very easily can happen. And the thing is, anyways, is just what's taking place. It's cooked, bro. It's a wrap, bro. What did it say? federal government grants for thousands of immediate needs. Without this flowing, with the layoffs and cuts of wages, it will continue slow recession. Okay. For US manufacturers, building a network of new suppliers is complex due to the specific nature and qualities of the part used in manufacturing production. Even if there's an American company that might, with time and detailed drawings, make the foreign part at competitive prices, the risk to current production is too great and costly to make this feasible. If attempted, then during this transition, hourly employees would be laid off and production lines stopped. Local communities, many of them in Trump-friendly estates, would suffer. Yeah, all the people that voted for him, that were going out there thinking he was, he was the God Emperor and he's gonna save the day. They're unaware that he's got a job to do out here, man, and pushing forward the agenda of the elites. That's the core of what he's doing, what his approach is, what his goal is, what his aims are. It says what the uncertainty of the chaotic Trump plan also clouds the American economy. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is holding interest rates steady, inviting Trump's ire. If and when Trump manages to renegotiate a trade deal, it won't be worth much unless it's with America's most valuable trading partners, including Canada, Mexico, China, South Korea, and Japan, as well as the EU. I suspect that most of those deals may be with countries that the US barely trades with, including India. And yeah, that's the reality is yeah, it would need to be fucking with it would need to be fucking with what you call that. With those everyone that was basically called allies previously, but then is how viable, how realistic is that? And then even if he relents, then it still doesn't mean that everything's gonna go hunky dory, man. It's really looking like it's fucking cooked, man. China and the US are scheduled to conduct trade talks this weekend in Geneva, but China knows that it does not need to do more than agree to meet to discuss the future of the US-China trade relations. Sending negotiators to Geneva costs nothing beyond airfare and hotel bills. For China, the US is not the only country that matters. China could add pain to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's day job by dumping his cache of US Treasury debt on the bond market, driving the US dollar lower and short-term rates higher, and further weakening the US stock and bond markets. China might also find it useful to join a coalition of countries suffering under American economic bullying and redirect trade and manufacturing capacity elsewhere in the world. Yeah, China's the one that holds the cards now. And that's really been, established. And it's why? Because America's been dependent on them for a hot minute. But people were really, the arrogance and pride, man. It's the same thing with Brexit, where Britain was you had a portion of Britons that thought Britain was actually doing fucking a superhuman, legendary, super heroic, ancient power. It was just like the Empire days. Man, forget that the Empire decayed and died. It withered, man. When America rose, that was the Empire was done, man. America was that little horn, and now America's lost its prominence, and what Moab's been used to wash them out, man. Moab's a washpot, and you can see it's they shifted off production there. As the thing is for a period of time they were able to basically bully and control them. Because why? China was fucking cooked after World War II. Them men had been occupied. Same for South Korea. And then Japan was occupied by America. So all these different economies were basically beholden to US interests and were working to build, essentially building their economies off the back of America. But in what? Now you have these guys able to, take leverage themselves against America and then come from a position of strength when negotiating. Because what does it say? Revelation 18:2, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Yeah. The place is fallen, man. It's in that hella decline. And it's evident because they've tried to come from a position of strength. And then, that's ceased. Even with like NATO as well. Trump was bullying for everyone to increase their defense spending, saying, I'm going to pull out of NATO. Last time that worked. Now you got, France, Germany, etc. The military powers in Europe strengthening themselves, fortifying themselves, increasing military spending, and then looking like, okay, we're not going to rely on the US anymore. Poland was, no, we're not going to fuck with the US anymore. We're going to deal with our European allies. So it says, what? For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Yeah? These guys got rich through all the goods that, they're able to produce and sell, man. A lot of it says those electronics. And even you've had a big thing with a lot of Chinese companies buying out big portions of different companies in the US, and then enriching themselves off the US market. But then what? I'll skip down to verse 9. Revelation 18:9, it says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Yeah, that great city Babylon, that's really the mindset. But then what? Because it's fallen. Because it's destroyed, man. That's why they're gonna be lamentating. And then what? And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. And that's the key point. No man buyeth the merchandise anymore. They're not able to make money off it. They're not able to enrich themselves and live deliciously. That's what is causing anguish, the pain, the terror to these guys. Because what does it say? 1 Thessalonians 5:1, but of the times and seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Yeah. These things are coming as a thief in the night to the people in the world. They probably thought there's people that thought Trump getting in was America rocketing back up to being into a state of prominence. They were thinking like, yo, this is America's saved. We're going to MAGA. We're going to make America great again. But lo and behold, the truth's come out. It's all, it's decline. It's that sudden destruction, man. Man thought it was peace and safety. And then just out of nowhere, they're just like, yo, everything's fucking up. What's going on? This is wild, man. This is a mess. But lo and behold, Jeremiah 51:7. It says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. Yeah, Babylon's been a golden cup, and it's really done that job of completely, corrupting the minds of everyone globally, man. Anywhere you go in the world, you're gonna see a reflection of how American rule was established, and of how American rule was established, and what do you call it? Oof. Of how American rule and how they conduct themselves on the earth. Everyone's moving with not parliament, it's what they call a Senate House and a House of the two house system. The Republican form of democracy. These are things that have been offloaded everywhere else, even where you still have kings. You have what they call it, the term for the UK, constitutional monarchy, I believe. It's called a constitutional monarchy when you still have a head of state, but they don't have any power. I think Japan's the same with the emperor as well. I think Thailand as well. There's a few different countries, a few European countries as well. But they're following after the image of America, man. But it's fallen suddenly and destroyed. It said we would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For a judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is filled up even to the skies. And yeah, it's really gonna be the mindset, man. Men are already observing. Yo, America's cooked, man. It's done out. It's only going to be further confirmed and secured, man. Isaiah 14:4 says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? The Lord Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. Yeah. The key defining feature of America is what? That force, that cruelty in his approach to how he bears rule, man. The oppressor. And then even with it's evident as well with what do you call it? The oppressor. It's evident with the oppressor. It's evident as well with the response of these nations, man. When there's a chance for them to come out from under America's rule, they're not thinking, oh, it was so just, it was so righteous, I want to continue. No, they're thinking like, fuck that, I want to get on top. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. And yeah, it's going to be that rest, man, when that judgment's taking place. No one's going to be thinking like, no. They're going to be lamentating for the money it can make. But then what? It's going to be a judgment that's been earned, man. Because that's the reality. As far as it goes with America, a big part of the pride of Esau in America especially is because regardless of, what they've done in their history, they're still prominent, man. They've still got the rule. They're still at the head. So they're thinking like, yo, well, why should I, what have I even got to stress over? Yeah, it's all gonna come to a fullness anyway. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom.